Well, guys, welcome back. We are at episode 2 of the Room 222 podcast. 2 for 222.
That's a lot of twos.
That's a lot of twos.
I know
It
it
is
is.
2 p.m. Just kidding. It's 11 p.m.
It
We're
could be when you're
11
watching
a.m.
this.
It could be. I don't even know what time it is.
We should post this at 2:22 p.m.
We 100% should. If you're watching this, we're going to try and post it at 2:22 p.m.
Done.
on February 2nd, 2022.
Yes.
You guys are gonna have to wait 2 years for episode 2. But episode
Just
3 is
like they tried to make us wait for that stupid last day stuff. All right, I'm sorry. We're not talking about that right now. I'm sorry.
we are not talking about that in this episode. This episode is dedicated strictly to the NFL draft recap. We are 1 week removed, so we've had a few days to ponder, look over some stuff, and think through it. So as we dive into episode 2 of Room 222 podcast, I am Robbie. That is Tristan, and we are going to dive right into the NFL draft. So
I've
we
made
had
sure
our mock draft.
I made sure I wore my offensive lineman hat for this, just because I feel inspired really by offensive lineman coaches.
Right.
They're really my role models, not like in a coaching sense, but more in a dietary sense, in a dietary kind of way.
What do you think the average NFL offensive lineman coach eats?
I'm gonna go with 28 pixie sticks in the morning. And from that point on, it's just really whatever lands in that vicinity.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, I think it's just the pixie sticks is the main thing, though. If you don't start that way, then you're just not even qualified, and you better put your hat on. I think they got pixie sticks stored up in these hats.
Do you think they have a little compartment, a little zipper?
Yeah, right up in there, just a little, and they pull it out. And like, because this is how you know if you really eat pixie sticks. You can, I like to kind of tap. I tap on the stick.
Yeah.
To put in. A real offensive lineman coach pulls out the compartment, rips it open, and sucks the sugar out.
That's disgusting.
I'm just saying. That's just a little fun fact. Write it down. Take it to the bank.
Offensive line coaches. I feel like ever since we did the Michael Jordan dress up, I feel like you've committed to literally wearing a different hat every day on this show.
I'm 100% committed to having some piece of clothing that relates to whatever we are talking about.
I am all for it.
You got an NFL hat on.
I do. Yeah, I have my Patriots hat on. I turned it on backwards because I wasn't happy with their draft. We can actually start there if you want.
Let's go. Let's do it. Let's go who we're not happy with. Let's start with who we are upset with.
I've got a couple. The big one that everyone is talking about is the Green Bay Packers. They trade up to get Jordan Love. They don't just draft a quarterback in the first round with Aaron Rodgers under contract for the next 4 years. They trade up for Jordan Love. I went through, and this is by Over the Cap numbers. So that's on their website, Over the Cap. But they can't get rid of Aaron Rodgers for 2 years without taking like a $29 million cap hit.
Goodness gracious.
To not play for the team. So if Jordan Love takes over in the next 2 years, they're just going to hold on to Aaron Rodgers' money.
Like a Gilbert Arenas style.
Yeah.
Just letting him sit.
They're going to pay him, and he's not going to play football for the Packers if Jordan Love takes over.
What's the likelihood? I'm all about my percentages. What's the percentage that Jordan Love takes over within the next 2 years? Say start of year 3. He's under center.
Start of year 3?
Slinging that thing, yeah.
Start of year 3 is plausible because if I remember correctly, if they trade Aaron Rodgers at the start of year 3, the cap hit is only like $17 million.
Oh, no big deal.
Which is manageable
from
a cap standpoint. It's not great, but it's manageable. So,
all right, start there. Start of year 3, what's the percentage? And then start of year 2, what's the percentage?
Start of year 3, I give it 60%.
Ooh, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a lot of love over there for Aaron Rodgers in that organization.
That was a good pun. That was a strong pun.
I didn't even mean to.
Wow. Everybody,
Wow.
stop what you're doing. Pause the video.
I just said
Just
there's
give a
not a
little.
lot of love for Aaron Rodgers in the organization.
There's
I
a
didn't
lot
even
of
mean to
love
do
for
that.
love, though. A lot
That
of
just
love.
shows you the talent I have for this.
Mm,
I'm so good at this that I just did that without even trying.
just
No,
naturally.
just kidding. No, I think that there's trouble brewing over there in Green Bay. I think there has been for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't see a lot of interviews come out with former players where they're like, that guy was a jerk, man. I didn't really like him.
Yeah.
He did this, that, and the other. But you've had like 3 or 4 people come out and say that about Aaron Rodgers, like publicly.
I've
And
heard that.
that NFL, like that's like a brotherhood. That stuff stays in house. You try and keep that under wraps for the most part. Every now and then you have an outburst.
Mm-hmm.
But when 3 or 4 people are going on radio and TV shows and saying, "Hey, he's not a good guy," and this, and that, and the other, you start to, where usually they say where there's smoke, there's fire. In a big organization, multi-million-dollar organization like that, sometimes maybe things just get a little smoky. And it really
a little bit. And they need that Smokey the Bear out there to let people know.
But every now and then,
I love Smokey
when there's smoke, there's fire.
I think there's certainly a fire brewing. I think Aaron, listen, ever since I saw Aaron Rodgers' brother on The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, I knew from that point on Aaron Rodgers is out in Green Bay. You don't listen. He trashed him.
He did. He did not speak very well of his own brother. There's like a lot of family issues there with Aaron Rodgers. So
it's true.
But that, I mean, you look at just story after story, and there was already kind of some contention when they hired LaFleur as coach.
Yeah.
So like the first week after they hired him, LaFleur, I can't remember the exact interview, but LaFleur came out and said one thing, and then a day later, Aaron Rodgers had cameras in his face, and he was just kind of like, "No, I don't think that's how we're going to do things." No. So it's like already there's already contention between the new head coach and Aaron Rodgers.
Well, look at him. Well, guess what?
You already, I mean,
Aaron is going to be out.
We're replacing you.
Listen, I'm going year one. I think 8 games in, Jordan Love starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers.
Got to be an injury.
Listen to his name. Just say his name. Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers starting quarterback. Right there. It's just clean.
It is smoother than Aaron Rodgers.
Just think about that. Jordan
I feel like all the good quarterbacks have first one syllable first names.
Jalen's
your guy. So it's actually good that you bring up Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Because my second, before we move on to the Packers, they drafted a running back in the second round despite having 2 very good running backs. I hate what they did on the front end. Of course, they drafted a whole bunch of offensive linemen. You can't be mad at that because they couldn't block anybody last year. But anyway, not a big fan of their draft.
No receivers.
Not one.
There were studs. There are stud receivers that were available, and they didn't pick a single one of them.
Well, and here we go. We are going to transition to the Eagles because this segued beautifully.
Do it.
Because the Philadelphia Eagles are my second pick for disappointing draft.
They're my number one, so we're on it. We're in this.
They picked Jalen Reagor, the wide receiver, before Justin Jefferson out of LSU.
Insane.
Now, if you watched any Eagles games last year, fans were ready to storm the field and murder Nelson Aguilar for drops.
I saw it. I saw somebody with a butcher knife. Someone had a butcher knife in the third row.
They were so mad at Nelson Aguilar for drops. And you'd think in a stud wide receiver class with all these wide receivers that the Eagles would pick a guy who is sure-handed and explosive and one of the top guys.
Something.
And they draft Jalen Reagor out of TCU, who had drop issues in college.
They're college.
They're going to get him killed in Philly.
It's not going to go well.
If you can throw, and this gets brought up all the time, you can throw snowballs at Santa Claus. You can throw ninja stars at Jalen Reagor because they are they are ruthless in Philly. Like they are going to throw stuff at him. I'm concerned for him. If he starts dropping a couple passes,
he's out.
They're gonna lose their minds over there in Philly.
He better start a reality TV show or something. He can be like the Deckers and make some sort of money, because he's gonna be out of there. I'm just saying.
Got to do something.
He's got to get some sort of fans on the female side of things for him to have any sort of financial gain for the rest of his career if he starts dropping passes.
It's troublesome in Philly. So they picked Jalen Reagor right in front of Justin Jefferson, who people had anywhere from the third to sixth best receiver in the class.
Insane.
And I think he was top 5 in the class. But they pick him right in front of Justin Jefferson. T. Higgins goes at the beginning of the second round, and he's not picked.
Stud.
Michael Pittman to Indianapolis, who I really like. But they picked Jalen Reagor, the guy who drops the football.
Listen, I got something to say.
Okay.
This just came to me, and I just need to release it into the atmosphere.
Let's hear it.
Eric Decker. Hold on.
Oh, no.
I need to start differently. Tristan Thompson is the Eric Decker of the NBA. Average, just average player. He's average, okay? Let's just do that. Eric Decker is average. Maybe if he went to the Patriots when Tom Brady was throwing the football, he'd be.
He did, and he was just old and retired right after.
It was just awful. But listen, Eric Decker is the Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson is the Eric Decker, because Tristan Thompson is super popular. Honestly, if you're watching this, Tristan Thompson, you got my name. You're trash, okay? You're just hot garbage. But him and Eric Decker, that's it. They're both super popular because of reality television. You heard it here first. That's it. That's all they're good for. No one will remember them.
So you're saying Jalen Reagor has to go the reality TV. He's got to be a personality.
He can make money. Do it.
Because if he starts dropping passes in Philadelphia,
that's it.
He's going to have a short-lived career.
He won't leave with hands. He won't have any hands when he leaves. They'll remove his hands.
And Philly fans are ruthless.
I'm just saying. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm telling you, third row, I saw a lady, female. She had green hair, butcher knife, left hand and right hand. I said, what is going? They panned to her and they went away real quick and they cut to a commercial. I said, you won't be able to find it on the internet. They removed it. YouTube's got these strict guidelines.
No murder on YouTube.
Yeah, no green hair butcher knives on YouTube. That's what I've heard.
So we got Jalen Reagor picked, and then they do what I just don't understand at all. They pick Jalen Hurts.
You seem real frustrated. Like you seem.
I don't understand it at all, because I wasn't that down on Jalen Hurts. I thought he was talented. I know you were really high on him.
I'm real high on him.
You're going to explain that in a minute.
I will.
They have Carson Wentz, who I know gets hurt, and that's all fine and good. Right. But you as an organization have come out multiple times and publicly said, Carson Wentz is our guy. We're trading away Nick Foles even after the Super Bowl run. Carson Wentz is our franchise. He's our guy. He's our guy. He's our guy. And then you go and spend a premium draft pick on Jalen Hurts in the second round.
Doesn't make any sense. And Carson Wentz is not 38 years old.
No, and that's why this is almost just as justifiable. Like the Packers one is almost justifiable because he's 36 years old.
Yeah.
But this doesn't make any sense. Carson Wentz is still young. He's in the prime of his career. And if he stays healthy, he's very talented.
And the media, people love him. He's got.
They like him. He's a likable guy.
Exactly. He's not even a jerk.
He's under contract for like another 4 or 5 years. Like, I would hate to see. And this is what somebody brought up is Jalen Hurts going to be the Taysom Hill in Philadelphia?
You can't.
I think he's too good for that. Now, look, Taysom Hill might be a good quarterback. I don't think so.
I don't think so. His arms are too big now. Can't throw the football like that. Have you seen that dude's arms? His arms are huge. Listen, that was I watched some Saints games, and they were like, oh, he used to be a quarterback, The first thing I looked at his biceps. I said, not anymore. Not anymore. He's not a quarterback.
Like that.
That's like an NBA player being a three-point shooter and then all of a sudden getting huge biceps. You're done shooting threes. That's it. If you look like Corey Maggette, you're not shooting threes anymore. Just saying, that's a slight
shout out Corey Maggette.
Yeah, I'm in LA Clippers.
So,
just saying.
But the pick just doesn't make sense. I don't like the receiver pick in the first round. Mm-hmm. I think Jalen Reagor could have been had later.
Yeah.
and I don't see where Jalen Hurts fits on that team. Now, if he becomes the starter and you move away from Carson Wentz because of the injuries and all that stuff, and it works out, it works out. I just don't. To me, that you're putting so much into what ifs and maybes
Yeah.
with a second round pick. And those first couple rounds, 1 and 2, and sometimes 3, depending on the talent level. This was a deep class, so even into 3, you can't be picking on maybes. Well, what ifs?
You can't do it.
What if this guy gets hurt, or what if it just doesn't fit for me. So
Listen,
I hated.
Philly was my number one least favorite draft. I give him an F. I'm grading him. I'm giving him an F. You know what? I'm to the point where I'm not even taking effort to record the actual, to actually grade the paper. Some teachers just look at it and they know that one kid and they go, yeah, this is easily an F because I know this kid. And so I saw Philly and I saw what they did there and I went, I'm just writing big red letters, an F on there. And here I have multiple reasons though. Because Philly, number one, the Carson Wentz thing. Okay, we covered that. That's clear. Now, what are they doing? They talk so highly of him. He's loved. They got rid of Nick Foles, and people didn't even get that upset about it when Nick Foles was leading them. And then Nick Foles blew it in Jacksonville, and so they're really not really that upset anymore, anyways. But what I'm upset at is that they're trying to ruin the future of a young man who's just trying to come in and play quarterback and be a superstar. They're trying to ruin his life. Listen, we didn't talk about it on the last podcast because I had enough to say about Chase Young, who, by the way, is up 10 Instagram followers from last week. 1 week ago, he's up 10 Instagram followers. He is not following the baby social media strategy, and his career is going to go into turmoil. Maybe not turmoil, but not as good as he possibly could be. Okay, he's still a stud. I get it. He's going to be the man. But he's following more people. Unnecessary. We didn't have time to get into it. But my thought was for Jalen Hurts, I like him. Now, I did some digging, and I compared him to good old Joe Burrow over there. This young man with his slicked back hair and his cigars in his mouth, thinking like he's over here. I don't even know what I'm going to say about him, but he's thinking he's a stud already, like that one guy that played for the Jets. Why is my mind going blank? What am I trying to think of? Back in the day, that I don't know. Forget it. I don't know.
You talking about Hollywood Joe Namath?
Joe, yes. That's who Joe Burrow reminds me of, okay? He's trying to emulate that. Anyways, I looked some things up on them. Now, Joe Burrow from Ohio, okay, went to a smaller school in Ohio, didn't really play for a lot of people. And then I had some problems when he was at Ohio State, and he chose to transfer rather than winning the starting job over a guy like J.T. Barrett or Dwayne Haskins. Now, listen, good college quarterbacks, right? But by no means are they not surpassable on the depth chart. Like, they could be beat out, okay? If you got the talent, if you got the ability, you can overpass them. But he didn't. And he said, I need to get out of here. I need to get out of Ohio State. Too much attention, too much going on. It's too much happening. I can't beat him. I can't do it. And so he went to LSU. Now, you would say, okay, LSU is a large university, big-time school, national champions, all that sort of stuff. Yes, they play in front of tons and tons of people. But I got red flags when stuff like that happens. I got red flags when a player isn't able to move up the depth chart, and instead of fighting for it, instead of battling it out, they transfer. They leave. They say, I'm moving on. They can't be the alpha dog in one situation, and so they try to go to a weaker place where LSU is known not to have that great of quarterbacks in their history. I mean, they haven't had the most stud quarterbacks ever. They got some real average college guys. But he goes in there, and now Joe Burrow looks like the man at LSU because anything you can compare him to at LSU is just – I mean, what the guy that got kicked out of the NFL that was on the Raiders?
Marcus Russell.
Yeah, that's his comparison. Yeah, who cares, right? Like, that's the other top dude at LSU. I remember when I was like in high school and middle school, they had a dude at LSU playing quarterback that was like 325 pounds. And he was running around throwing that football. I don't know his name, and I don't need to know his name because clearly he was irrelevant. He didn't do anything. But now Joe Burrow's there, throwing the football, win national championship, and he gets all this hype, and he goes number one. Now, Jalen Hurts played high school football in the great state of Texas. I say that, but I've only been to San Antonio, and I didn't really like it that much. You like Texas more than I do.
I was born there. I was born in Texas.
Anyway, so he went. It's a football state, right? Football state. His high school stadium is 8,600 seats. So for high school football games, young 16-year-old Jalen Hurts was playing in front of 8,600 people, probably more on rivalry games, standing room only. You put that thing at about 10,000 in there, I'm sure. And he's throwing touchdowns. He's running for touchdowns. He's stiff-arming people. He's doing all types of things in front of the people. Then he goes Alabama, creme de la creme, top dog Alabama. He's in there dominating, playing in front of thousands and thousands and thousands. Now, go ahead. Tua took it. I get it. I understand it. Both of them are star quarterbacks. Both of them are studs. It is what it is. I like Tua too. I think he's going to do great. But then he goes to Oklahoma, another place with stud quarterbacks that have come out of there, at least in college level. They've blown it a little bit in the NFL side of things, but they could do some stuff in college. Heisman Trophy winners. And Jalen goes in Oklahoma and just picks up right where he left off. He just dominated, just straight dominated. And here's what I'm trying to say. You get into that NFL, there's a lot of pressure. You got to have some thick skin. You got to be used to all those eyeballs on you as a quarterback. You got to be ready. Jalen Hurts was ready to step into a program, step into a team and win that starting job. But no, they put him in Philadelphia where they already love Carson Wentz. And let me tell you something. If they stick him on that bench and don't give him a chance to shine for 4 or 5 years, I'm going to be upset. Jalen Hurts needs to be an NFL starting quarterback by year 2. And he needs to be throwing that football. He needs to be throwing for more touchdowns and less interceptions than Joe Burrow. And he needs to be leading whatever team he would have been on to the playoffs before Joe Burrow and all of those sort of things because he would have been ready for it. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I think there are people who can come from a small high school and not get as much playing time. I'm going to give an example. I'm going to talk about the man Tom Brady, okay? Tom Brady. But here's the thing that's different. When you're somebody like Tom Brady, when you're somebody like Michael Jordan, when you're somebody like Tiger Woods, when you're somebody like Michael Phelps, when you're somebody like the Cocoa Beach native and Kelly Slater, when you're somebody like one of these just extreme superstar athletes that have just something up in here that's different than anybody else. It doesn't matter what school you go to. It doesn't matter where you play from. If you've got it, you've got it. Now, I named 5 people. There aren't many more people in the history of sports that you can add to that list. You can add a few more, but there's not that many. And so I'm playing some low percentages to think that Joe Burrow has the thing, the Tom Brady gene, the Michael Jordan gene, and so on and so forth. And if you don't have it, you better be prepared before you step onto that NFL field for those cameras, for those eyeballs, and for that attention, and for the criticism, and still go in there and do your job. If you can't, listen, I'm sorry. Jalen Hurts should have gone number 1. That's what I'm saying right now. It should have gone number
1. Well, I know you like Jalen Hurts, and I was going through that list, and here's what I thought of all of those people. They had something happen to them that motivated them to take the next step. True. Now, you mentioned Joe Burrow at Ohio State transferring out because he couldn't work his way up the depth chart.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was at Michigan, and he had to fight to be the starter.
Fought for it.
Won the starting job.
Like a dog.
And then they tried to take it away from him.
And he said no.
They kept trying to play somebody else, and then Brady considered transferring and said, no, I'm going to go win my job back.
That's how you do it.
And so he went in there and won the job back. You look at Michael Jordan, you hear the story of him getting cut from his freshman high school team or sophomore high school team, and just that chip on his shoulder. And Brady getting drafted 199th overall, and that chip on his shoulder.
That's it.
You look at Jalen Hurts.
Come on.
And look, I'm not saying he should go number 1. That's your stance. I don't think he's the best guy in the draft.
Listen, I exaggerate a little bit.
I respect it. But I respect your opinion. Here's the thing, though. He did go to Alabama, and he
Mm-hmm.
led them to a national championship game.
Mm-hmm.
And then, second half, Tua takes over, and it's his job. Now, the next year, Jalen Hurts stays at Alabama,
Yeah.
and he tries to win that job back, all the while supporting Tua on another run.
Yeah.
So most guys throw a fit, they pout, they get all upset. And Jalen Hurts handled it like a pro before he was a pro.
Good character guy right there.
And then he went to Oklahoma and did his thing. Now I watched some of the Oklahoma tape, wasn't a huge fan of some of the stuff I saw, but I think he's talented enough to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Got to give him time to learn, man. He doesn't have any more schoolwork to do.
Right.
He can just throw that football all day.
But
which he will,
he
unlike Chase Young.
A chip on his shoulder now. Jalen Hurts has a chip. He says, okay, I was at Alabama. I was the top dog, and you guys wanted to replace me, and you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I handled it like a pro. I did what I was supposed to do. But you replaced me. You moved me out of the way. Now I'm going to go to Oklahoma, do my thing, play pretty well, get the team, ranked number 4. We're gonna do well. But there's still gonna be that. Oh, Tua went number 5.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm falling down to the second round. Okay.
Yeah.
And if he had gone anywhere other than Green Bay or Philadelphia, I think he would have thrived.
It's upsetting.
I think he would have done well. I don't know if he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowler, but I think he would have done well, and with that chip on his shoulder. And the Eagles blew it. They ruined Jalen Hurts for Jalen Hurts, and they ruined Jalen Hurts for the Eagles. Because what are we running Jalen Hurts out there on 3rd and 1?
No.
And putting him in the Wildcat. That's what you got. That's what you drafted this guy in the second round for, was to play 8 snaps a game and not contribute unless Carson Wentz gets hurt. It's just especially with a team with needs. Like they need secondary help.
Yeah.
They need wide receiver. God Almighty, they need wide receiver help.
Big time.
Like they need help, and they didn't do it. Like Denver Broncos double dipped at wide receiver back to back because they knew we lost Emmanuel Sanders, and Cortland Sutton is the only guy on our team whose name other than Drew Lock. So we need to get some wide receivers in here. And they draft the guy with drops. Philly drafts the guy with drops, and then picks Jalen Hurts.
Doesn't make any sense.
Maybe back up Carson Wentz for the next 4 years.
Unless Philly knows something about some new football gloves that are coming out that doesn't let anybody drop anything, then they're idiots. They're just complete dummies.
Well, the only conspiracy that I can possibly conceive is that there is a Carson Wentz injury out there.
Ooh.
that is chronic. So everyone gets on Todd Gurley in his arthritis in his knees.
Uh-huh.
And they say, oh, well, see, he's done and he can't do this, and he's got knee issues. It's degenerative. He's never going to be right, and he's never going to hold up the test of a season. So I wonder, does Philly know a little something about Carson Wentz? Does Carson Wentz have some injuries that aren't just stitched up or wrap it up, tape it up, and go out there? But is there something that his body is just broken?
You think they keep it? Properly? You think they can keep that on the down low and then maneuver a nice little trade package?
I think if they're going to, that's how they have to play it. Now, the problem with that is the contract is still really bad.
Yeah.
If that's the case. So they obviously signed that deal before knowing that, again, that is a thing. But again, I don't know. I don't have Carson Wentz medical report, but if he has some elbow issues, or that back isn't right, or that knee is starting to go, and you're saying, man, this thing is going to slowly deteriorate, and he's going to have an 8-year, 9-year NFL career and be done, then this Jalen Hurts pick makes a little sense.
Bum, bum, bum. Breaking news right here on the Room 222 podcast. Carson Wentz is broken. That's it. Boom. Let's go.
So that can make sense.
Delivered.
But listen to what we're doing. We are throwing out wildish, outlandish conspiracies on Carson Wentz's body breaking down to try and justify the picking of Jalen Hurts in the second round.
Listen, that's
That's
what we
how
have to
bad
do.
this draft was.
It's rough. I'm gonna watch him walk. Actually, next time I see him
Just
on the
see what's
television, I'm gonna
going on.
analyze that walk. I'm gonna see how he picks up his arms.
Study his gait.
That's what I did to Zion Williamson. I watched Zion walking, and I said,
Is he all shoulders? Is he trying to keep that back tight?
Ladies and gentlemen, next time you see Carson Wentz on that television, watch how he walks and let us know. Let us know what you think.
See if there's any hitch in the step there.
Listen, I want to talk about what I like. I want to talk about who I liked.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me who you liked.
I'm going to be quick. I'm going to be real quick, okay?
Go for it.
I talked about him on the last podcast. I said he should be the Dennis Rodman of the NFL. I love some Isaiah Simmons. Going number 7 to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I wish he went 6. I wanted him to go 6. I thought Carolina should have picked him up.
7.
Sorry, 7.
Carolina was 7. He went 8.
Sorry. Went 8. I got him mixed up. I thought that Carolina should have picked him. I get it. They picked up a strong D tackle. They got a good guy, really good dude that's going to be in there. Hopefully. But Isaiah Simmons, he'll make me watch Arizona Cardinal football games. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know if they'll be on my television out east, but I'll find a way. I'll find a way to watch them.
They'll be up there. I told you and I talked about it last time, one of our favorite guys in the draft, freak athlete. They did say he's going to play linebacker.
I saw that.
There. So it looks like they've kind of defined where he's going to play. That actually is what threw off my top 10 mock draft. When the Panthers picked Derek Brown.
Dude, you were solid.
And not Isaiah Simmons, then that means that the Cardinals can jump on a talent like Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah.
And when that happens, Jacksonville no longer needs to go with one of those guys. With Derek Brown gone, Jacksonville obviously goes C.J. Henderson, the corner, which they also need. I just thought they'd go D-line first. But with Derek Brown there gone, you get the second best corner in the draft in C.J. Henderson. And then the Browns at 10 took a tackle. The tackle board fell a little differently than I thought. But overall, pretty close. But I think, Isaiah Simmons going to Arizona makes it fun. They say he's going to play linebacker, but he's probably going to cover tight ends and spy quarterbacks.
He's from that position. Some people out.
I like him. Carolina I know a lot of Carolina fans wanted Isaiah Simmons. They went Derek Brown, it's smart. It makes sense. You're in a division with Drew Brees and Tom Brady.
Brady.
You have two ways to slow down those quarterbacks. You either put outrageously good cover guys on receivers, or you get after the quarterback. And up to this point, nobody's been able to guard Michael Thomas. Mike Evans has been a problem, top 5 receiver in the league. Yeah. And then the emergence of Chris Godwin. You can't cover all those guys. Nobody can.
Except for Isaiah Simmons.
So what do you do? You go get Derek Brown and you go after the quarterback from the interior offensive line, especially up the middle. You move Brady off his spot. You move Breeze off his spot. Those guys are old. They don't move like those guys used to do. Or
like Jalen Hurts will.
Like Jalen Hurts will. Like Brady never has. But and then Matt Ryan, Julio Jones is in there as well, so you can't cover him. So you have to get after the quarterback. So it makes sense what they did. I just thought Isaiah Simmons was the better player, the higher ceiling. He's going to be more of a playmaker and flashy, but it makes sense.
Who's your top team?
The best team, the best draft?
Best draft. Who's getting your best draft grade?
It's close between San Francisco and Indianapolis. It's close. I'm gonna go with Indianapolis. They wanted their guys that they got. Okay. So I was listening to Colin Cowherd yesterday, and he's friends with Ballard, the GM of Indianapolis.
Me too.
And leading up to the draft, he was talking to Cowherd about, man, we love Michael Pittman, we love Jonathan Taylor. Like we would be ecstatic to get both of those guys. And remember, they didn't pick till late because they traded for DeForest Buckner, which to me is a part of their draft. Right. So they traded their first pick to San Francisco for DeForest Buckner, who's a stud on the defensive line. So they get stronger there. They need wide receivers, and they've got Phillip Rivers, who's old, and I think they want to really have someone they can hand the ball off to and lean on. Marlon Mack is great. This pick actually kills my fantasy value. Jonathan Taylor pick kills my fantasy value. I had Marlon Mack in this keeper league, and he's been blowing it up. And now Jonathan Taylor's going to come in there and take touches. But they trade for DeForest Buckner, so their first-round pick is essentially DeForest Buckner, who's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go and get Michael Pittman, who is so good. I love Michael Pittman coming out.
Is this your favorite player? Would you say he's your favorite guy in the draft too? Can we double it up right there?
I don't know if he's my favorite guy, but I like him, I think, more than – and the thing is, all the top guys, the receivers, got all the love. Yeah. So Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs, Justin Jefferson, they got all the love.
Yeah.
Michael Pittman was probably next on there for me. And then after that, the kid from Colorado, Laviska Shenault, I think is how you say his name.
Shenault. He's he's got an uncle who runs Nabisco cookies, the cookies and crackers. I'm just saying, I know all these uncles. Justin Sherbert. Justin Herbert with the Sherbert, and
none of those facts are true. No, Michael Pittman, like him, and Jonathan Taylor. He's got a lot of tread on his tires at Wisconsin. I said he was the best running back in this draft from a pure running back standpoint. Right. Now, DeAndre Swift and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they do all that out of the backfield stuff. But from a guy who's going to run the football, Jonathan Taylor's the best one.
He's going to.
And they got him in the second round as well. So you got DeForest Buckner, Pro Bowl defensive lineman. You got Michael Pittman, big-time wide receiver, who was quietly, to me, the fourth or fifth best guy. And then Jonathan Taylor, who may have been the best running back in the class. It's not an overly strong class, but still, you get the best guy, you get the best guy.
Right.
So I think they nailed it. They got exactly what they wanted. Yes, I think so. I think so. I think that they beat out Houston. I think Houston, no DeAndre Hopkins. They get Brandon Cooks, who I'm high on.
Yeah.
But he's no DeAndre Hopkins.
Which was silly. Don't even talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it.
You get all that. I think they win that division, or at worst, they're a wild card team. DeForest Buckner is going to wreak havoc up front. And then I think that those guys help out, and then they get their backup, their quarterback of the future, Jacob Eason, later on, who's going to back up Phillip Rivers. So.
Listen,
I think they nailed it. San Francisco nailed it, but I think Indy gets my top nod. Ravens are close as well.
Dude, I like the Ravens. I got questions for you.
Okay.
To close this out, I need some quick hitters here.
Okay, let's hear it.
Just thought of them because it inspired me asking you if the Colts are going to be a playoff team. Okay, so Arizona Cardinals, playoff team.
No. They're going to be exciting, but no.
Okay. Chargers. Without Phillip Rivers, playoff team.
No, that division's too tough.
Okay. Playoff team from last year that won't be this year, besides someone we already mentioned.
Playoff team from last year is not going to be in the playoffs this year?
Yeah.
The New England Patriots.
I
got it right here, guys.
Not in there. I mean, that can be a clear one. I want to be. Would you be surprised though if they work some magic and still make the playoffs?
Well, no. I think their defense is a top 3 defense in the league. They're very well coached, and all they have to do is not turn the ball over a lot. And I think you can win a couple games that way. I just don't see it happening.
Super Bowl matchup.
This is tough.
Right now. What is it? It's April 30th right now when we're recording this. Super Bowl matchup.
The Super Bowl matchup is going to be the Baltimore Ravens out of the AFC. I think they edge Kansas City. And from the NFC side, man, it's coming out of that Drew Brees, Tom Brady mix. And it's probably going to be the Saints. Now, but here's the thing. I've picked the Saints to go to Super Bowl the last 3 years out of the NFC. Like 3 years in a row. I mean, like, this is the Saints' year. They've got all the pieces. They're so close, and they haven't got it done. And for that reason, I'm turning my back on them. It's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I've got Baltimore Ravens versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You just switched it. The Buccaneers are going straight to Super Bowl. They pick up Brady. They pick up Gronk. You've got them going.
I do. I love the safety they took in the second round. Do they win it?
Score. Give me a score. Super Bowl score right now. We'll look back on this. Give me a score of the Super Bowl game. Final score.
I have it 30-24.
What?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Baltimore Ravens.
Man.
30-24.
Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it.
This is the way too early Super Bowl prediction.
Somebody write it down.
Next year. We'll have it logged.
Write it down right now. Bucks.
So that's the Super Bowl prediction. Bucks over Ravens 30-24. Again, this is all barring injury, but
no, you don't get to do that. No.
No, you picked them. I couldn't pick the Saints 4 years in a row. I can't do it.
Well,
especially if they play Minnesota in the playoffs. They just, for whatever reason, just can't get that right. So that's the draft recap. That's our Super Bowl. Who do you have, by the way?
In the Super Bowl?
Next year, yeah.
Isaiah Simmons. No, I would I think the Ravens are certainly going to be in there. I agree though with the Saints and Bucks. It's hard for me to go against those two things. I think the Bucks are going to make it. I just think Tom Brady goes down there and it's just he's got a nice tan and he's just throwing that football and he's just out there loving it. Gronk's out there with a beautiful tan and they're just the tan boys.
If Gronk can put on a little weight, just a little bit.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be as big as he was. Because they're not going to run the ball like they did. I don't think he's going to be used like a blocking tight end as much as he was in England. If he can gain a little bit of weight and stay healthy and get in shape, man, that's a problem over there. They just picked up O.J. Howard. I read this today. They picked up O.J. Howard's fifth-year option. So for what it looks like, he's going to still be around. Cameron Braid will be there. So they have some flexibility with how they do their lineups.
Keep Gronk healthy throughout the year.
Yeah, kind of gives him a little bit of load management, you could say. He could maybe he'll Dennis Rodman it and take a few days off and go to Vegas.
Gronk could definitely take weeks off.
Tom
Brady go and find them.
go in Vegas. So we'll touch on all that Dennis Rodman Last Dance episode 3 and 4 on the next episode. But that's our draft recap. That's episode 2 of the Room 222 podcast. You have our Super Bowl predictions. You have who we liked coming out of the draft, and whose teams we liked, who we didn't like, picks that didn't make sense. Comment below who you think had the best draft, the worst draft, and your way too early Super Bowl predictions. We try and give us a score if you can. We just think that makes it more fun.
And say something to Chase Young. Tell him to get off those social media follows. Stop it, Chase.
Stop it, Chase. We're trying to help you, Chase.
Come on.
We want to see you. We want to see you win. We want to see you thrive.
Come on, man.
Well, that's it for Room 222 podcast. Episode 2 of Room 222.
222.
See you guys.
Peace.